Holly Williams, the meeting's called to order. I'll take a motion to approve agenda item number 2.
I move approve agenda item number 2, approval of the agenda. John Graham, Manitou.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, Randy Helms. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Number 3, do we have any public comment today? Okay, come on up. Our citizen scientist is back. What's it like? It's almost 7 now.
Oops, my glasses. I apologize. Is this on or off?
It's on.
It's on.
It's
Go
on.
ahead.
Cool. My name is Deborah Stout-Meininger, community advocate, citizen scientist. Today, I've come to share some information about the Martin Drake plant coal-fired in only one area. But I heard on the news that it was shut down totally. Well, that kind of surprised me because there are no substitutes for it at this time. And what substitutes normally would be available are in high demand because of the drought. One of the sites on the East Coast, the Penn Energy site, had said back in 2014, power generated at the Drake plant provides 1/3 of the community energy needs. As a result of the fire that was in 2014, CPU is estimating the fuel costs associated with replacement generation will increase by $3 million per month while Drake is out of service. I thought that was a rather foolhardy decision to make all of a sudden, considering that we had to get power from a third-party source just to make ends meet. Now, in what Excel brings in and uses up in Denver, which is one of our sources to get a third-party generation of it, for that, the California is having a hard time with the drought. And the hydropower plants make up 19% of the energy generation in California in 2019. And he lost power because a lot of them are on at the verge of being shut down temporarily in California. The lost power cannot easily be replaced with renewable sources that fluctuate during the day, like wind and solar. When the California's hydropower capacity dropped from 2019 to 2020, much of the difference was replaced by natural gas generation and electricity imports from other states, according to the data from the California Energy Commission. So I'm waiting to see if anybody catches their sanity in the next few weeks. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. Let's go ahead and move on to City Councilman Williams.
Thank you. Just so folks are aware, this is not an all of a sudden decision. There is a lengthy process in which Colorado Springs Utilities received public comment and process with our Utilities Policy Advisory Committee, and ultimately a decision by the Board of Directors, which is the City Council at Colorado Springs Utilities, and that took place several years ago with that discussion. There are alternative gas turbines that we have installed that are much more efficient, and they will lower cost than an old coal plant that is not efficient. And I would note that Drake provided nowhere near a third of the city's power during the time I've been on the city's board. So just wanted to clarify for the record, our largest power producer is typically the Front Range gas plant, with the Ray Nixon coal plant being one of the others, but we have solar and hydro that is operated by Colorado Springs Utilities and wind that we purchase, as well as a number of gas plants. So just wanted to correct the record. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments or public comment? Okay, item number 4, approve. We have 2 meeting minutes to approve. The approval of the minutes from the August 10th, 2022 meeting. If everyone's had a chance to review them, I'll accept a motion for approval.
Move approval, this Director Williams, move approval of both sets of minutes.
Both sets of minutes. Okay, let's do both. A second.
Mayor Pro Tem Roland Jardine, seconds.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Our next item number 5 is the Citizen Advisory Committee Monthly Report.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jim Godfrey, Chair of the CAC. Our meeting last week, I'll just cover some highlights. We did make a positive recommendation for the budget agenda, the budget calendar, as it is on your agenda going forward for approval of next year's budget. The city of Colorado Springs brought initially 8 contracts, withdrew 1. We had discussions on the remaining 7 and make a recommendation to approve the 7 contracts you'll see today. Paso County brought 2 contracts. We recommend approval for those as well. Manitou Springs had a line item transfer, clearing up some projects, moving some money from one and moved it into another project of which we recommend approval for that one as well. The rest of our items were information only, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Okay, there being no questions, we will accept the Citizens Advisory Committee monthly report.
Thank you.
I don't think we have to have a motion for that. Oh, sorry, we have to have a motion to accept.
I move acceptance of the CAC monthly report. John Graham.
Mayor Carpenter seconds that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. Now we get to go to Lisa. Thank you again and welcome for the monthly financial reports. And after that, we'll move right into the budget calendar.
Okay, Lisa Corey, I'm the finance manager for PPRTA. So the month that we are reporting is the most current information we have. It's 2 months in arrears. So we're reporting July. We are under budget. This is the amended budget that was changed in June by 199,000. However, we are still over budget for the year as a whole. And we are 4.8% above the same month last year. Did anyone have any questions on this?
Are there any questions on any of the pages of the financial report? Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go on to the budget discussion. We need to, do we need to approve these? Oh, I usually can just say the reports are filed. Supposed to be good at this by now.
I'm sorry, not on the monthly report, but on the calendar and the revenue estimate, yes.
Oh, yes. Okay, so on the monthly report, we appreciate the financials. And now we will move on to the budget calendar and setting a revenue estimate. So Lisa, go ahead. Give us your best shot.
Okay, the budget calendar is within a day or two the same as it was last year. It meets all the state requirements. Was there any questions on the calendar, on the dates on the calendar?
That would be the public hearing next month? No, December. Okay.
For the revenue estimate,
Oh,
I,
hang on. Mayor Carpenter has a question.
Mayor Pro Tem, Roland Jardine. To my understanding, man, the tax revenue, man, for Callahan has actually increased quite a bit. And I don't see no reflection of that in here.
their revenue estimate increased on our, what do you mean?
Rick, go ahead if you can answer that one. So you've received more taxes in at the town of Callahan.
Yes,
Well, the PPRTA received more than the original 150 million that the board set last September for 2022. So there was a mid-year budget amendment to add 6 million. So we did increase our budget mid-year from 150 million, 156 million. The negatives of the last 2 months are probably because we added the 6 million, that maybe added too much. And we didn't anticipate the economy, downturn in the economy and the higher interest rates. Of course, the inflation brings in more tax revenue, but the higher interest rates are squashing the economy, squashing the housing market, and all the things that go into new houses, lumber, steel, carpet, appliances, etc. So all of those are a significant downturn, and higher inflation means folks are buying less. So that's all those factors are the fact that we added the 6 million, and then the fact that the recession by official recession or unofficial recession are causing our revenues to flatten is why the last 2 months have been negative.
okay. All right, thank you.
Director Williams.
I just note that because of the significant surplus during the first few months, if the losses continue at that, not the losses, but the shortfall continues at the 200,000, that will exactly equal the 1.2 million we're currently to the surplus over the budget. So
Okay.
I don't think we need to monitor it, but it's not something to which we need to be alarmed about.
Right, I don't think there's a way that we don't at least fit within that budget by the end of the year.
All right, thank you.
And just for those listening to the public, if we could, our current cash reserves are how much?
The board's 10% reserves.
So total amount.
We'd really prefer not to say that number publicly. Lisa?
Well, the amount that's on here is 851,000.
Cash in the bank?
No, there was,
Council member, are you wanting cash in the bank?
Yeah.
The actual reserve amount is 883,000. With since we wait until we have the cash to fund our projects, we have a significant cash balance, I'm sure.
Right. And so I'm saying it's not like we're not going to be able to make bills if we wind up a little bit short, even if the projection's wrong. So,
right,
Yeah, our two trump cards, even if it's close or we're slightly under for the year on sales taxes, is the interest earnings through Colorado Trust is $1.5 million ahead of budget at this stage, probably trending to be 2 million or more ahead of revenue budget. So that would be our first trump card to play. And then we have the board's 10% reserves.
so that excess 1.5 million isn't even in the list of what we're saying here, correct?
right. It's in the
Okay.
financials, but it's not on the sales tax, the first page, it's not included in that,
So that's more of a buffer. So thank you.
right?
Okay, so that is the financial report. Now we need to go on to the revenue estimate discussion.
Okay, initially I had thought 160 million, but based on the last 2 months of the downward trend, I would say not more than 150 million.
Okay, and I know everyone will, well, maybe everyone will have a comment on this. I received text message from our county financial officer. People apparently in the county, unincorporated, are more conservative than in the city. We only were up 1% for the month, last month. And the city was up 7.5% for the same month. And so unless, you know, I would recommend, I'm going to throw out there that we started 150 million for our budget and probably not go up. I don't know if we want to go down. Does anyone else have an opinion? It's way easier to amend than to cut mid-year. Miss Director Williams.
I think. So our amended budget for this year. It's 156. And we're trending a little bit less on sales tax. So I think 150 is probably a rational place to start at, given the uncertainty going forward. And we can then look at, do we adjust next year based on how the economy is going? And I think that's because once we let the contracts, it's really hard to pull the money back. And it's not just the total amount, it's the component amounts. And so when we tell, you know, Rama, you have X amount in your maintenance dollars, and I don't know what 150 million translates to. And then we say, oh, not really. I don't know how you make that adjustment as easily.
Especially if you buy your gravel all at once.
Well, yeah, because you don't buy the shovel load. I hope not. I hope you're buying in bulk. And so I think that's a better way of approaching it. So that's, I support the 150 million as a working total at this point.
Director Helms.
I too agree. I think a working number of 150 million is probably about the right place to start for the coming year for all the reasons that we've discussed. Thank you.
And I will point out for the record, we do have Director Geithner online as well. And Director Geithner will make a comment. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just going to kind of agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. And just from the perspective of giving everyone appropriate ways to plan. So I'm in favor of that as well.
Okay, if I'm gauging the room, it looks like we have, we're ready for a motion to make 150 million our revenue estimate, as well as to approve the budget calendar.
Madam Chair, I so move.
This is Wayne Williams, second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That passes unanimously. Okay, let's go on to the City of Colorado Springs Maintenance Report, or no, City of Colorado Springs Capital Maintenance and Public Transportation Contracts.
Madam Chair, Gail Sturdivant, City Engineer, Deputy Public Works for the City of Colorado Springs. As Mr. Godfrey mentioned, the city has 8 contracts mentioned, but in the list, but we withdrew contract number 4, the roadway safety and traffic operations with the on-call concrete work for at this time. So I'll start at the beginning and I'll skip over that contract on the list. The first contract is for the Circle Drive Bridge Replacement Project. That's for the 4 bridges that are on the A list. The city pre-qualified 6 contractors, received bids from 5 of the 6 contractors, and those bids were in between 3.4 to 18.6% over the engineer's estimate. We do have the funds available to fund this contract and other obligations. As well, we will likely be adding some additional funds in our program for 2024 to cover some additional construction management costs we are anticipating and to have some contingency available for that project should it come about. But with those 5 bids, the low bidder, SEMA Construction, their contract amount is $36,808,875.45. Questions on that item? All right. City's second contract is for the second design contract for the I-25 Ransom Nevada Tejon corridor improvements. As you recall, our initial contract was just for traffic analysis and some initial coordination with CDOT. This contract will really pick up the development of the engineering plans, specifications, cost estimation, and get things ready closer for a bidding standpoint. We currently are asking to put this change order in the amount of $975,091 to Wilson and Company. And we have funds available in 22, and we have program funds planned for 2023 to cover the additional costs of this contract with construction dollars in 24. Questions on that item? All right. Going back to Circle Drive bridges, as I reported last month, the cities, in fact, it's been the last 2 months, the city's been undergoing some emergency repairs on 3 of the piers on the Circle Drive bridges. As previously reported, to shore those 3 bridges, and there is a photo of the shoring on in your packet. Each of those pier shoring costs $552,646.48. Those are monies we've already obligated through maintenance contracts. What I'm bringing forward to you today is a contract with Wildcat to complete the replacement of the rocker bearings on these same piers. That contract value is $1,130,288.81. The good news is those bridges will be operational through the construction of the replacement bridges. The bad news is we've had to invest just under $2.8 million in maintenance dollars to keep them operational during construction. Questions on that particular item? Contract 4 is the one I pulled, so I will skip over it. Contract number 5 is for the Barnes Road extension. This contract is in the amount of $238,000. Actually, so an approval, not necessarily a contract, but for $238,594.42 payable to Colorado Springs Utilities. As part of this project, there was a lot of extensive utility relocation required and that totaled $383,082.16. The cost split is between for that reimbursement is overseen by an executive agreement between the city and Colorado Springs Utilities. As it turns out, the city has been anticipating this cost to close out this contract, so we had the exact amount of funds available to complete this work, and we anticipate closing out this contract. Questions on that item? All right, moving on to item number 6. The airport road over Spring Creek Bridge replacement, somewhat similar situation where we're working on final closeout change orders. As part of this project, we incorporated a missing sidewalk segment on Airport Road. It was a 500-foot long segment, and it also included some drainage improvements that needed to happen in that area that both supported the sidewalk area and also the bridge that was just installed there over Spring Creek. The amount for this change order is $233,991 payable to Kiewit Infrastructure. We have more than sufficient funds available in the budget as we close out this project. And in fact, when we go through the budget process, we anticipate doing some line item transfers close to about $500,000 out of that project. Questions on that item?
Director Avila.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So once that funding is approved, how long will it take to fix those sidewalks?
We actually already put the sidewalks in while the contractor was already mobilized.
I thought so, because I was wondering, I was like, where are they talking? What sidewalks? I was like, because I've walked that, right? And I was like,
Yes,
what
and
are
as
they
you're
talking about?
right, as you're aware too, that now makes a continuous sidewalk on both sides of Airport Road from Academy to Shelton. So
That's cool.
So it was already done. So as I was reading this, I was like, I thought it was all connected. 'cause
Because we
walked
had the
it.
opportunity with the contractor at the time, we gave them the go ahead at risk in advance of getting contract approval for this change order from the board. But
Oh.
felt that was important to add to the project.
I think so. So now, thank you for that clarification.
Okay, next one.
All right, item number 7 is for the 2022 Bridge and Capital Construction Management and Inspection Services. This is an employee that has been working for the city as in a contract basis to support PPRTA functions with NV5. This individual now works for Vauxhall Consulting. We want to keep them on board. So we were putting a contract in place for just under $100,000 to have his services continue with the city for the remainder of 2022 to provide similar functions as it was in the past. The cost for this contract will be offset with the costs that were already previously approved under NV5's contract, and our total amount spent to assist with project delivery and inspection services would not be increasing. I will mention just kind of a side note this is a couple times I brought some changes to that contract. The city is in the process of recompeting for those services right now as we speak. And we plan on bringing a new contract towards the end of 2022 for your consideration for the services starting in 23 and moving forward.
Thank you.
Questions on that item? All right, my last one, this is my favorite one, are my maintenance guys on. I don't see them on the phone. I know they're all in snow training today. The last contract is for PPRTA dig out and patch services. This is a contract that actually is a task order based contract that's in place. What we're asking is the authorization for $750,000 for Trax Construction to actually complete some of the milling asphalt patching in those areas that need it as part of our maintenance programs and with PPRTA dollars. This is the last option year for this particular contract. We'll be recompeting it. And if you have questions about it, a lot of times you'll see them in advance of doing resurfacing. If you see larger cracks, and unfortunately you see them frequently happen over like storm sewer lines. Typical like patching and using mastic or regular fill doesn't really work out. They really need to cut those out, dig them out, recompact the material below where the crack was previously, and then build that asphalt back up to make it smooth. And they'll do that sometimes just standalone as a maintenance project, or they'll do that in advance of a mill and overlay. So it's just one of the examples that they've used this particular kind of contract for.
We have a couple of those in the county. We just let them swallow cars.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, works really well.
Okay, anyway, so I'm available for questions on that contract or any of them for that matter.
Okay, are there any questions? If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the City of Colorado Springs contracts.
I move approval of item 7A, City of Colorado Springs contracts.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Now we'll go on to El Paso County.
Good afternoon, Josh Palmer, County Engineer, El Paso County. I have 2 items that we are looking for approval today. The first being a new contract award for AECOM for the South Academy Boulevard project in the amount of $1,256,191. As you recall, this project is part of the larger MAMSIP project in this area. AECOM completed their initial scope of work of their original contract, which included scour countermeasures for the bridge over Fountain Creek, as far as the final design, widening from 4 to 6 lanes, intersection improvements, lighting, striping, all that's included there. The MAMSIP project is operating under a CMGC project delivery process, and that the final part of that process is an OPCC opinion of probable construction costs. And during that process, the contractor, as well as the third party consultant evaluating proposed construction costs, evaluated our final design in the range of $62 million, including our proposed budget for this project our estimation fell in the $50 million range, as well as the opinion of AECOM as well. So we were looking at a potential $12 million deficit to try to account for. So this contract with AECOM will continue their services for design support through construction, as well as some value engineering and de-scoping, which we believe could reach bridge a gap of close to maybe $10 million of that deficit. So our request is to award a contract to AECOM to help with those services.
Okay, any questions? Director Avila.
Very good, Madam Chair. This may, I don't know about this question, but so when we do projects in the city, right, we coordinate with utilities. We've been doing that more and more to make sure that once we, that road or bridge is ready to go because utilities has done its work. Now, I know this is in the county, but do you have any similar other utilities that you might work with in the county or different entities that would have to do some work under those roads?
Oh, yeah, we always do. We always have coordination with utility companies, including in this area, the railroad as well. I mean, they're often a very important stakeholder. But yeah, we coordinate with all the potential and actual utility companies who have a stakeholder interest in this project. And that's included and identified in this, in the early process for planning and scoping. And it's identified during the design process and realized during construction as far as coordinating for schedules.
So any work that needs to be done prior to expanding these lanes is already, the work is done?
No, because we're doing redesign. So what would happen in a perfect world is we would complete our design and then we would coordinate with utilities as far as any relocations and how that would work with the actual construction schedule. Typically, that would happen in advance of our construction, but oftentimes it makes more sense for utility company XYZ to come in and do the relocation while we're already opening up ground in a certain area. But we work with those companies and those agencies to coordinate their required schedule to make sure that it works with our construction schedule. But we haven't got to that part yet. So we got to the final design for this, realized we probably weren't going to have enough money. So we're going to go back and do some de-scoping or value engineering, change the final design, and then we will resolicit information and propose schedules from the affected utility companies.
Okay, well, I get it's for the final design, but it seems like if you end up doing this work and whatever entity has to go in there and dig it up again, it wouldn't make much sense.
Well, yeah, so no work has been done yet. We had a final design that we determined was in excess of our budget. So we don't know what the new final design will look like after the value engineering and de-scoping, but we will then revisit any interest that utility companies would have prior to us beginning construction on whatever the ultimate new final design would be. So no work has been completed yet. If our design had been acceptable relative to our budget, then we would be working with the utility companies now to make sure that they have proper time to perform whatever relocates they may have to do. But because that design got adequate, we haven't started anything yet.
We try to make it work as pretty as possible, but there's security. I don't know the ones in this area. There's 6 water companies up in mine commission district. And so I don't know how many there are along this stretch of Academy Boulevard, because there's the railroad, there's the security one.
I mean, in the city, right? Because that's what we do. And utilities, like when we do the PPRTA project on South Academy from Bijou to airport, the utilities will have gone under and done all their work. And then we start the construction part after they've done their work. And that happened at Spring, at the Creek, Spring Creek over Airport Road or under Airport Road. So I find that to be efficient and saving a lot of money that you don't have to go back and dig it up. So just want to keep that in mind. I was just seeing if the county did the same thing Colorado Springs did.
Well, overall, we are as efficient as Colorado Springs, but go ahead, Gal.
I would say we're more efficient than Colorado Springs.
There'll be a wrestling match after this meetings. No, I was just going to mention that we actually look at utilities for every project uniquely. And that when it makes sense and is more efficient, we actually do the utility relocations in advance. There are times when we do need to do the utility relocations at the same time we're doing the rest of the transportation coordination. And I'll just give you an example for Black Forest Road right now, as they're doing the storm sewer installation and some of the new utility adjustments there. We're also putting in an electric duct bank. And so utilities is out there side by side with our construction contractor working for that duct bank installation at the same time. But they did go and do all the water stuff in advance to get out of the way for the storm sewer to go in. So you really have to do a value engineering approach in every case. I would say both from a city standpoint and any jurisdiction, there also is state legislation that requires us to do this extensive subsurface utility relocation with different levels of
The 811
accuracy.
legislation.
Yes, that's portion of the same legislation. So it's required. It's just how you approach it on the construction side that gets looked at on each case. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Interesting questions. Let's go on to the next one.
All right, our second item is a, excuse me, contract amendment number 4 for the US 24 New Meridian, also called the Falcon Park and Ride project. This is in the amount for Alfred Banish and Company for $52,922.09. And this is to support the construction management component of the closeout of this project, which includes warranty work from contractors, some minor punch list items, and minor revisions to requirements from the red line as-built plans. So
That's a word we really like, close out.
Yes, close out. Yep.
Mhm.
And the question was asked during CAC if we believe that this will be the final contract amendment for this project. And I'm fairly confident that very confident that this would be the last contract amendment to help us close out this project. I'd say we could see the finish line in sight.
All right. Awesome. Are there any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve El Paso County's contracts.
Carrie Geithner, so moved.
This Wayne, second.
All right, we have a motion from Director Geithner and a second from Director Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Let us go on to Manitou Springs.
John, I got it, I think. Hello, everyone. Joel Grebenik, City Engineer for Manitou Springs. Happy to join you virtually. We have 2 items. The first one, as you can see, is a line item transfer. We are moving funds out of our older projects that are wrapped up, and then we're consolidating them into our existing capital improvement projects so we can just better represent what money is available and what projects are wrapped up.
Okay. So are we moving approval of both C and D at the same time or just C? We can do both, 1-to-1. Okay, let's have a motion to move approval of item 7C.
I'll make a motion to approve item 7C. John Grant.
This Wayne, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. And then we have the second one, which is the City of Manitou Springs, item number D.
Yes, thank you. As many of you know, Manitou has been working on Hiawatha Gardens, which is kind of becoming our mobility hub. And we wrapped up doing partial demolition this summer of the project. I hope many of you have visited Manitou. And judging by our traffic numbers, all of you have visited Manitou. And during that time, you've noticed that we have this site partially demolished. These additional change orders covered additional things that we found when we were doing demolition and that we determined were necessary and improve the overall project for us.
Okay. Always amazing once you get in there, what kind of items you find.
Yes.
Are there any other questions? All right, I will entertain a motion for item 7D, the city of Manitou Springs.
Mayor Pro Tem Ron Gardine makes a motion.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Carpenter seconds it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously.
Thank you,
All
everyone.
right. Brian, we are ready for the
Metro.
Mountain Metro Transit Report.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon. Brian Vituli, I'm the Transit Planning Supervisor with Mountain Metro Transit in the city of Colorado Springs. And I have this month's monthly transit report. So for July of 2022, for our fixed route services, we provided a little over 218,000 trips. This is 12.7% higher than July of 2021. And we are, well, for July of this year, we're a little over 70% of where we were in July of 2019 pre-COVID. For our ADA paratransit services, we provided a little over 7,900 trips during July. That's an increase of 3.6% over July of 2021. And about 65% of pre-COVID in July 2019. For our specialized paratransit taxi choice option, for the month of July, we provided 91 passenger trips. And that's a decrease of from June of 2022 of a little over 18%. And then finally, on second to the last page for our van pool services, we operated 6 vans during the month of July. That's one more than June, so that's good news. Provided service to 33 active riders who made 727 trips. So that's still, even though with one more van, it's still a decrease of 6% from July of 2021. And, you know, we are starting, well, apparently CDOT is opening the managed lane sometime this fall on I-25. So we're trying to make a big push to promote our van pool services because, you know, vehicles, I believe over 3 people per vehicle can travel for free in that managed lane. So this is a perfect tool for van pool services. So we're hopeful to see some positive increases once that's opened up. And then finally, on the last page, project update. We have completed our fall 2022 service change public process. We are moving forward with implementing everything as we proposed. I think I mentioned last month, this is one of our largest service changes that I can ever remember, which is wonderful news. Unfortunately, we're still hamstrung by an operator shortage. So we're going to have to implement these improvements in phases. We're still trying to work with our contractor to increase recruitment and get as many operators on board as possible. But we are kind of working through that plan now of what that looks like and what services we'll be implementing. But, you know, we will be kicking off the first phase starting on Sunday, September 25th. So we'll keep you apprised of that as we go forward. And the reason we did this to have, well, we actually didn't know that we weren't able to implement all of this until just recently. Because as we do bring new operators on board, we lose a few. And so it's kind of a, you know, a constant struggle to get to a proper number. But we feel it's better to do the full public process, even if we have to delay some of the implementation, because, you know, there could be a rush of operators that join, and then we can add that service as we get new operators on, rather than having to have a public process to add those services on. So it's we feel it's better to do the full public process, even if we have to delay implementation. And, I hope to have a better report for you next month, but it's looking like, it is a slow process, and unfortunately we can't get over it quite yet. And so this is new news that came after this report went out, but a couple of weeks ago, we just finished the Zero Fare for Better Air campaign during the month of August. This was a program where funds were given, approved by the legislature, signed by the governor. Funds were given to the Colorado Energy Office for transit agencies to apply for grants to reimburse us basically for the fares that we would lose during the month of August. But the numbers are really, really good. So if we compare August of this year to just the prior month, July of 2022, we were up 38.5%. So that's our fixed route and paratransit services. When you look at August of 22 to August of 21, granted, we were still struggling with COVID last August, but we were up 62.6%. So, and when you look at August 2019, pre-COVID, when we were in a really good positive trend with ridership, we're only 2.3% below where we were in August of 2019. So that's very encouraging, really good news. We'll Council Member Helms, Avila, and Williams, you'll be seeing a full report. I believe it's in the hands of Travis now, but you should all be getting a full report on the success of this program. So look for that coming soon. But yeah, we'll see how plans are. This program will probably be available next year during ozone season, and it's too early to say whether we'll ever go fully fare free, but we probably will look at this program again next year, and with guidance we'll probably participate if we can. So any questions?
Yes, are there any questions? Very good report. Yeah, go ahead, Director Avila.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was advertising everywhere I went about the free fares, so I'm not taking credit about that, but I was surprised that I arranged a ride with Metro Mobility one time, because I usually try to take the fixed routes now, but and then that was free. So I didn't connect the two. So,
Right.
But I was like, oh, okay. That's when you do a Metro ride, it costs $3.50. And so $3.50 was like, wow, I could save $3.50. Cool. So I thought it was really great. I spoke to different classes at Colorado College, and everywhere I could, I'd say, take the bus, go visit up and down the city, and go to Manitou. Manitou's pretty cool. So we'll see. I love the idea of that, because I personally think that we pay our taxes for transit, and that when we use it, we're basically paying a toll. So I think this is a really good experiment.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
I just want to add kind of a funny story, but we were promoting this pretty heavily prior to the start of August and all through the month, and pretty regularly through the entire month, our customer service folks would take calls from our customers saying, "Is this really free? Is this really true?" So there was a lot of interest, but also kind of a lot of non-belief too. So it was a good program, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what happens next year.
Very, very interesting. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could
yes,
just add a
go
little
ahead.
bit of a tangent, but it reminds me about our air numbers that we've been tracking for the summer, and not sure that we can take total credit through the MMT program, but we'll take credit where we can. We only had 2 bad air days this summer, and we had 32 bad air days in 2020 and 2021 combined. So August was our worst month, if you will. potentially for having bad air days, but we only had one in August and one in June, I think. So I'm sure this contributed to us having better numbers this year.
Yeah, we'll take all that credit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I think we can give all that credit in this meeting to Mountain Metro. Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is the City of Colorado Springs monthly change order and property acquisition report.
Madam Chair, there are materials available in your packet for your information. I'm available if there are questions.
Does anyone have any questions? All right, there being no questions, then we'll move on to our next item, which is the El Paso County monthly change order.
Just ditto what Gail said. Information's in the packet. I don't believe there's been any changes since the last report from last month. So, but if there's any questions.
Are there any questions regarding that item? Okay, there being no questions, let us go on and move to the administrative action and reports. Rick, our quarterly reports from our member governments.
Just an information item. These are the quarterly reports from the 6 member governments showing what they've completed in the second calendar quarter of 2022. Be
Awesome.
glad to take any questions.
Are there any questions on this item? Okay, now there being no questions. I did see earlier we had Dan Jablan on for just a minute, but I didn't catch him. So I know we'll just be keeping an eye out on the legislative session as it starts in January to make sure there's nothing affecting the Pikes PPRTA. And then we do have a request for an executive session. So I will turn this over to Jennifer Ivy to announce this.
Great. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for allowing me to attend remotely today while I'm away at a conference. I would request that we have an executive session today pursuant to section 24.6.402.4B for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions related to the PPRTA's ballot issue for and the conduct of the November 8th, 2022 election.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
This Wayne, I will move to go into executive session for the reasons as stated by council.
I'll second John Graham.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we will give it, are we okay? Starting at 2:30, 5 minutes to set up the room. So we'll recess until 2:30 and then we'll be back.
I know. Sometimes I can't find it when I'm going through and I said, I know I just flipped it over. Where did it go? Hey, flipping the person while they in one nut. Oh, yeah. It's like a musician. Is this your card? No, I'm still going back. This is my camouflage instead of putting face makeup and stuff on. I wear a hat that comes clear down to my, so this just darkens my face a little bit. I saw one legal bull way too far. And I've had a little spike about that long, walked between here and that post of me. He just walked up, kind of looked around. I thought, how come you weren't the big guy? Yeah. Then there's another one he's got an antler on him that's probably that long and just a little fork at the top. And then the other antler on this side tweaks over and bends. I caught him on my camera and then I saw him the day after. But what's really
Okay, we did try to admit Director Geithner during the executive session, so I will update her on the business out of that. And I do apologize, Director Geithner, that we could not get you admitted. So given all that, we are on to item do we have to have any announcement about executive session before I go on to item 12?
Yeah, since the recording wasn't on when I was readmitted, I'll just make the announcement that no recording was made of the executive session since legal advice was provided, and that furthermore, no action was taken in executive session.
Okay, the item number 11, the Pikes Peak RTA member announcements. We will start with Director Williams and go around the room.
We had the exciting and riveting ribbon cutting this morning of the Platte Avenue Bridge over Sand Creek. So one of the many projects we're doing in Southeast Colorado Springs. It was so folks know, this is a bridge that was built almost 70 years ago. And interestingly, we actually had one of the people who worked on that bridge there at the ribbon cutting. So he's a little older than I am, but about the same as some of my colleagues on council. And it was, let me just illustrate what the Pikes Peak RTA enabled us to do. And some of you know this already, but it was an allocation for $5 million. But with that, we were then able to leverage federal grants and other sources and build a $14 million project. And so that, you know, when we talk about that matching grants ability, that ability to leverage the funds, really good example of it. In addition to replacing a bridge that was older than I am and showing it, just like I am, we were able to connect the Sand Creek Trail underneath. So it had a multimodal purpose. It accomplished several things, and it was done in a way that still made it so Commissioner Geithner was able to commute on a regular basis from Falcon to downtown Colorado Springs. And so, Gail, I appreciate you and the work there. The other thing I would note is that City Council did formally approve an endorsement of the ballot. This is something provided for by the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, is that a legislative body such as the City Council can adopt a resolution supporting a ballot issue. And we did that unanimously. And so that is a couple of the updates from the city of Colorado Springs.
Okay, Mayor Carpenter.
Nothing to report at this time. All is well in Rama. Our Rama days went real well. I haven't heard the final number on it, but we did good on that. So
Awesome. Mayor Pro Tem Gardine.
I got a few things to report. Right now, we have the annexation request that will actually increase Callahan by 25%. Okay, so and then we're going through the public hearings right now with that. And we're having a few individuals upset and a few individuals like it. So we're in the process of going through that. Yep. We received in a number of grants, one from CDOT for curb and gutter. Received another grant man for sewer pond liners, and another grant for Boulder Street project, which we found fantastic wooden pipes that need to be repaired and replaced.
Now that's old infrastructure.
Yeah. Our community man basically is the aging, and we have a bedroom community where people go to work and they come back home. Okay. But this expansion project, we're trying to actually target people that work like in the prisons and that kind of area. So they have a home that the price point be that so they can afford it to live there and be able to drive to work. Okay. And the yellow book and that the PPACG has done is made a heck of a good impact. And it's really helped our pantry a lot, and even the churches, and also then the VFW, they use the yellow book a lot. Okay. And that really been helping a lot of people. So. And the last thing is we're highly motivated for this grant navigator and grant writer. So that's my report.
Awesome. Wonderful. And I think PPHCG is looking into hiring one. Okay, Mayor Graham, Manitou.
Great. Well, I'm delighted to say that we are almost finished with our West End project, and that was funded both to echo Wayne Williams' comment. This is where PPRTA funds were leveraged with CDOT money. This is a project that it was very convoluted. We did not find wooden pipes, but we found every other kind of pipe in there. We found pipes that didn't hook up to other pipes. We found an old gas tank. This was really kind of a nightmare. The project went on and on because of all the underground surprises we had, which I guess isn't a huge, which maybe is to be expected because that roadway is about 150 years old. So we got that done, but it was far more protracted and expensive than we would have estimated. So without PPRTA, we would not have the road done. We would have the road torn up and we would not have money to finish the project. So I would be out of office and I'd be down here looking for a job as a janitor or something. So very much appreciate the role that PPRTA has played. I cannot underestimate the utility of that. And I will say that now that we've got the road looking nice, we are going to welcome back the Ute natives on October the 9th. We're going to have representatives of the 3 Ute Indian tribes to come back and rededicate the Ute Indian Trail. So that won't use any PPRTA money, but the street's going to look great when they come back. Super. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
So we're very excited to have you still on board and not working for Mountain Metro. So, but they are hiring, I hear. Okay. Lisa, Rick, Gail, Josh. Okay, go ahead, Gail.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for your kind words on the ribbon cutting. I will let you know there's another big one coming. You shall be getting a save the date in the very near future. It's for the Centennial Boulevard extension opening. Right now, we're anticipating that being on October 28th at 10 a.m. I saw a draft of the save the date this morning, so I know that's imminent for to reach your mailboxes. So hopefully you can make that. The ones we've had, the last couple ones have been a little static. We're hoping we can make something a little dynamic on this one with it being a new roadway. So we're going to have a discussion on that here soon.
Nice. Andy, any announcements? Okay, Mayor Dixon.
The Basin project is still in work. We're currently on hold for some gas line parts that have to be brought in so they can lower the gas line. Lake project is also still in work, and we're about ready to start in on our bearware project that we got for the bear resistant trash cans and a dumpster blind. So that's gonna hopefully start up here in the not too distant future. And other than that, things are still fairly calm in Green Mountain Falls, which is nice.
Nice. Councilmember Avila.
Well, I'm going to just talk about a couple of activities that are not PPRTA related. So on Saturday, we have the fallen firefighter memorial at 11 at Memorial Park. And it's a really beautiful event. And I think they're going to add like 400 plus firefighters to that wall, which is pretty sad. And but there's also going to be the first annual Fiestas Patrias. It's going to be a huge event from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. There's going to be all kinds of food, entertainment. Just going to be a big party, a big fiesta. So I encourage all of you to come down with your constituents and spend your money.
And Councilmember Helms.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only comment I had, and I'm not sure, someone help me out here on the project on research and powers with the overpass. Does
Soon.
PPRTA have a piece in that?
Go ahead, Gail.
The city did not provide any other PPRTA funds, and I don't believe any other entity did it as well.
I could speak to that. That was my Christmas present in December, what year? 2019 or
2020, when we got our last tranche of federal relief money.
Yep. And Andy called me the day after Christmas, said that we got the money for it. But I will tell you, it was through PPACG, and it was only through the willingness of almost every single mayor in this room giving up something to get that done. And the ribbon cutting is next week or the next. They just opened the
Thursday, the 28th at 10 o'clock.
That's going to
Yes.
be a
So,
happy day.
Yes, my comment was, I took the time this morning, because this morning, I went there and I drove back and forth. I know they were wondering what the hell this guy and his
I'm going to do that
and his
tomorrow.
Ford's driving back and forth, but I just wanted to do it, and I enjoyed it. I think it works really well. So if you get any complaints or anything from some guy driving back and forth, it was me.
I'm
Thank you.
planning on doing the same thing myself. So now that we've all been trained on how to use Fillmore, I think we can do it. I've been driving back and forth unless I understood Fillmore. I don't know as if I have any announcements. The county is doing fantastic. And we are, very happy to be continuing working on many matters, and just remind everybody, ballots will be coming out. Not in October, I think October 6th.
17th of October.
Okay, in October, watch for your ballots. They're going to be long. And you get the blue books, be sure to take the time to read them, because the ballot is going to be very long. And so lots of statewide issues as well. And go ahead.
I have one statement. We need to get some more Band-Aids for CU because they lost pretty bad to the Air Force.
You're damn right.
Did, yes. So that was a fun game to watch. And a few more for the Broncos too.
I was there the entire game. I came prepared and cheered the whole way, and was very happy with the
That is
Air
a true
Force
Air
CU
Force
outcome.
fan.
The freshmen, the 4 degrees, are the ones who do the push-ups, and in 2 weeks in a row, they've done over 40 each time. Well, it's more than 40 because every time you score, you push-ups.
Okay, if there's no further business, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Williams, if I could just add one little thing. I just wanted to say too that really appreciated the invitation to speak at the ribbon cutting this morning. And yes, it was absolutely unbelievable how smooth that traffic was during that process. So thank you for mentioning that, Wayne. I think it's a huge improvement, and I was grateful to be a part of that today. So just wanted to say thanks for making me a part of that.
Yes, that is a very great project to have done. Maybe another project I might have to drive through when I'm in that area. So, okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Did we have a second?
I'll second John Graham.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's enjoy it. We're adjourned.